Alright, so we are here doing another mousepad review. This one's going to be hopefully kind of quick. Right now, as you can see, we got the FreeFall SV Base Control Plus. I've had this mousepad for roughly like just under 3.5 months now. However, actual usage, I've had it, or you've been using it for roughly 1.5 months. And I decided to do this video on like this mousepad instead of the other ones I had, was because I decided to pull it out to play some CSGO, and I realized why I put it into like a early retirement. So before getting to like the actual main point why I personally put it into like an early retirement, like the two, I want to point out real quick, as you can see there probably already, as you can see right there, bit of fraying with the stitching. That could also just be like the start and end of the stitching, but regardless, like that shouldn't really be a thing. Even though it's minor, it's towards the top left of the mouse pad. Again, it shouldn't be a thing. It's not a super big problem, obviously. And that was a problem within like the first week and a half, 2 weeks that popped up. So who's to say if more areas will be affected later on in the future if it continues? Hopefully not. Hopefully it is something that gets fixed, or maybe it's just a problem with my pad specifically. So going on to the main problem for me with the pad is actually the base. The base is actually kind of decent in terms of the material. It's a silicone material, I believe. So really it should work on paper, you know, should work, feels good. If I put any pressure, it doesn't really move. And I've had another mousepad that has something similar to this and it works fine. However, maybe it's just like my desk, or maybe a problem because of the stitching here. It does go under, and so it sits on top of the silicone base. But because of that, whenever I'm playing, and it was a problem just now as I was playing CSGO, as I continue to play and move, the mousepad also moves, and not like a little bit, a decent amount. So if I can somewhat demonstrate, like pretend this is normal, this is how it's flat, or how it sits, and it's flat like this, straight. But as I play, it'll continuously keep moving down and down and more like that. And so I had to like keep on readjusting. And maybe it's because I'm just putting a lot of pressure onto the mousepad with me moving my mouse and everything. But it is a problem for me. It doesn't really stick well to my desk or hold well in actual usage. And even when I'm just like browsing the internet just on my computer, it will sometimes move as well, even when I'm just lightly moving my arm. Again, maybe it's because of my desk, but at the same time, as I also said and stated, I have another mousepad with something similar like this and it works fine. So I assume it's a problem because of the stitching that sits on top of the base right here on the sides all the way around that is causing it to not stick that well. And that could be a problem for other people. I personally haven't looked into this problem with other consumers of this pad to see if they had the same problem or similar problem. However, it seems as though of people using it in clips that I've seen on Twitter, they don't seem to have that problem. But as of right now, big problem for me, which is why I put it into a early retirement. And another thing here, moving on, as you can see, I have a sleeve on because the surface of this pad, it's very abrasive. Instead of like a smooth cloth material, it's very rough, and it does allow for a very nice effortless glide that isn't super fast but is pretty quick. However, again, because of that abrasiveness, it is going to irritate your hand and arm. For me, it doesn't, but I decided to wear one because of this problem here. This collects dead skin a lot more than other mouse pads because of it being abrasive, and it just constantly scratching against my hand and arm. And I don't know if you could see that well, there's like a skid mark, pretty much, as gross as that sounds, like up against this mouse pad. Let me see if I could turn off the light and it shows up a bit better. Maybe not, doesn't really show up as well. If you could kind of see like color difference right there and here. I don't know if that how well that shows up, but there's basically like a light brown line starting to form here because of where my arm plays. And again, as gross as that sounds, it is a thing that people will probably want to invest into a sleeve, especially a sleeve that covers your hand right here for gameplay, especially if you rest your hand on the mouse pad like I do. And now onto the positives of this mouse pad. I kind of already said it, because of the abrasive nature of the surface. It does glide very smooth and quick, very effortless, especially for me since I'm using glass skates. But in terms of good things to say for this pad, that's pretty much it. Very minimal design, just a logo here. The color is very nice, definitely a eye catcher. Definitely pops out on the setup, especially for my setup being all black and like random colors. Like I have this matcha green keyboard, definitely quite the contrast. Well, that's pretty much as far as the good goes. Well, the pricing is also good. So me personally, I bought this upon release from their website. So I paid $45, which is including shipping, and it did come in flat if I remember correctly. So not too bad. $45 shipping, it ships flat. However, it is now on sale, and it's been on sale for a while, and it is $35. However, I don't know if they include shipping in that, especially if you buy from other online retailers, if they have their own shipping pricing, or if it's going to be $10 as well on top of that to make it $45 again. But if it is $35 just flat with shipping included, that's pretty good deal. So moving on here to the end, do I think this mouse pad is worth the money at $35? Again, unknown shipping, I haven't checked. We'll just say $35 flat shipping. The pricing is very good. However, the mouse pad, I feel as though you have to try and look into it a little bit to see if it is right for you, or at least the base, because that is probably going to be the biggest problem and annoyance for a lot of people. It is for me. Again, I put it into a early retirement because of it. I'm not happy with it just sliding around everywhere. And also the abrasive surface, again, could very much so irritate a lot of people with it just constantly scratching against your hand and wrist and arm. Unless if you buy a sleeve, I highly recommend a sleeve with this mouse pad. But yeah, as of right now, I cannot recommend this mouse pad until they update the mouse pad to fix those problems of the stitching here or the base, as well as the actual stitching itself. Like I said, it's fraying up there in the top left. But if you know that the mouse pad actually does work on your desk, then go ahead. $35, great price. Definitely a pretty good mouse pad, assuming that it works for you. But if everyone's experience is the same as mine or similar, I can't recommend a jiggly mouse pad like this. Hopefully this was somewhat informative and helped you make a decision on whether or not you want this mouse pad, and hopefully they do fix these problems in the future. But anyways, see you guys later.